Why Ford and VW shut down their multi-billion-dollar self-driving project. One of the riskiest projects in the automobile industry over the last 10 years has been the drive to build completely autonomous vehicles. With the goal of transforming transportation, lowering accident rates, and improving mobility, automakers and eight firms have poured billions of dollars developing self-driving technology. Two of the biggest car companies in the world, Ford and Volkswagen VW, were among the most ambitious participants in this field and invested a significant amount of money in the development of autonomous vehicles. Unexpectedly, though, both businesses chose to abandon their multi-billion-dollar autonomous vehicle initiatives. The reasons behind Ford and VW abandoning their grand ambitions will be discussed in this video, along with the implications for autonomous driving technology going forward. 1. Increasing expenses and uncertainty in the development. It is quite expensive and complicated to develop completely autonomous vehicles. Even after investing billions of dollars, Ford and VW still had a lot of work ahead of them to complete the technological advancements necessary for fully autonomous vehicles. These obstacles resulted from the difficulties of precisely projecting driving circumstances in the real world, the requirement for extremely complex hardware and software, and the unexplored legal environment around autonomous vehicles. The Autonomous Intelligent Driving Aid branch of Volkswagen and Ford's Ford Smart Mobility, which was initially conceived as a joint venture with Argo AI, both had to contend with spiraling costs that soon beyond original estimates. Both businesses particularly grappled with the enormous expenditures of expanding their operations and improving the artificial intelligence AI systems that would drive their self-driving vehicles. Both companies started to wonder if they could continue funding initiatives with uncertain timescales for commercialization, because the development of the essential sensors, cameras, radar, and LiDAR components grew very expensive, and there was no immediate return on investment in sight. 2. Security issues and regulatory barriers. Although there are still major safety and legal obstacles, autonomous vehicles have been hailed as the transportation of the future. The regulatory framework's unpredictability proved to be a significant barrier for both Ford and VW. The fast-paced improvements in self-driving technology proved to be a challenge for regulatory bodies worldwide in the years after their project debuts. Some governments, such as some areas of California, permitted the testing of autonomous vehicles on public highways, but others were significantly more stringent and required a great deal of safety documentation and testing before any real-world deployment could occur. Furthermore, self-driving technology came under more scrutiny after high-profile collisions involving autonomous vehicles from firms like Tesla and Uber. The hazards and difficulties of bringing this technology to market too soon were brought home in 2018 by a deadly collision involving an Uber self-driving vehicle. Ford and VW realized they had to confront the mounting safety issues and regulatory resistance if they were to proceed. The lack of a clear road to regulatory permission for large-scale deployment played a part in the firm's decision to halt or suspend their self-driving operations. 3. AI and machine learning advancement is happening slower than expected. The slower than anticipated advancement in AI and machine learning was a major factor in the cancellation of Ford and VW's self-driving initiatives. Both businesses had anticipated that advances in AI would hasten the creation of driverless cars. But the algorithms couldn't keep up with the enormous complexity of driving in the actual world, and the technology remained patchy. Getting AI systems to reliably anticipate and react to erratic human behavior on the road was one of the main hurdles in particular. The AI systems were still not entirely dependable in all situations, whether it came to identifying a person who was jaywalking, responding to unpredictable driving, or handling an abrupt weather shift. Autonomous systems frequently struggled with edge cases and scenarios outside of planned programming, in contrast to people who employ years of expertise to absorb information and react fast. Therefore, it became clear to Ford and VW that completely autonomous driving, which does not require human intervention, was still years, if not decades, away from being a practical commercial application. Their decision to stop the initiatives was influenced by the project's sluggish pace as well as growing stakeholder pressure. 4. Reorientation to semi-autonomous technologies. Rather than investing billions of dollars in completely driverless cars, Ford and VW have chosen to concentrate on semi-autonomous driving systems, which are thought to be more practical and safer in the near run. Though they still need human supervision and intervention, these technologies, often referred to as Level 2 or Level 3 autonomy, offer drivers some aid through features like automated braking, adaptive cruise control, and lane keeping. Ford, for example, has refocused its efforts on improving Copilot 360, its current driver assistance system, which has certain semi-autonomous functions that customers have found to be quite appealing. In its next models, the corporation is also starting to incorporate more sophisticated driver assistance systems, ADAS, which in the short term offer a more useful and competitive solution. VW has also redirected its efforts toward developing semi-autonomous technologies under the IQ Drive initiative. Through their investments in semi-autonomous technology, Ford and VW are able to provide consumers with innovative options without the risk and uncertainty associated with completely driverless vehicles. Additionally, manufacturers may introduce these improvements to the market more quickly because semi-autonomous systems are simpler to deploy under the existing legal framework. 5. Insufficient customer demand and market preparedness. Despite the considerable hype surrounding self-driving cars in the media, there hasn't been much demand from consumers for completely autonomous cars. Even after high-profile accidents involving self-driving cars, many people remain skeptical about the safety and dependability of autonomous technology. While some early adopters were thrilled about the possibility of an autonomous future, most people who drive are still not comfortable entrusting AI-controlled cars with their lives. The decision of Ford and VW to discontinue or reduce their self-driving programs was largely influenced by the lack of consumer readiness. The public's confidence in autonomous systems remained low, and consumer demand for completely self-driving cars was not increasing at the anticipated rate, despite the significant investments they made in developing the technology. Additionally, automakers started to understand that creating completely driverless cars is a social and cultural, as well as a technological problem. The idea of handing over control of one's car to an algorithm still faces a lot of resistance. Consequently, Ford and VW reevaluated when they thought it would be best to release fully autonomous cars and came to the conclusion that it could be wiser to concentrate on more useful advancements in the interim. 6. Competitive influence from rivals and new businesses. Not just Ford and VW were devoting billions of dollars to the study and development of autonomous vehicles. Numerous rivals, including established automakers like General Motors and Toyota and tech firms like Google's Waymo, have also started large-scale self-driving initiatives. Because of the fierce rivalry, Ford and VW found it more and more difficult to keep up their investment pace, particularly when the expected returns took longer to materialize. The choice to end these programs was influenced by the emergence of self-driving startups as well. It is now harder for established automakers to keep their competitive advantage as new players like Aurora, Zoox, and Nuro enter the market with creative strategies and unconventional solutions. Ford and VW were consequently compelled to reevaluate the long-term feasibility of their autonomous projects. Furthermore, Ford and VW knew they would have to play catch-up if they kept investing money in a race that might not pay off for years because other businesses were already ahead of them in the race. In the end, they decided to cut back and reevaluate their strategy due to the strain of competition. 7. The far ahead. Autonomous vehicles' future. The dream of completely autonomous cars is still very much alive in the automobile industry, even though Ford and VW have chosen to abandon their bold self-driving projects. All businesses have done is to redirect their attention to the creation of semi-autonomous systems, including cutting-edge driver assistance technologies, which offer instantaneous gains in convenience and safety. Short-term, these technologies can offer a more realistic and manageable route ahead, thanks to features like adaptive cruise control and lane-keeping assist. But there is still a long way to go until driving is entirely automated. Although there are many obstacles in the way of fully autonomous technology, such as consumer distrust, legislative obstacles, and safety concerns, companies like Waymo and Tesla are still pursuing it. Compared to what many first thought, the path to widespread adoption is more complicated and takes longer. The strategic shift by Ford and VW highlights how innovation in the automobile sector is still evolving and prioritizes low-risk, quick fixes over high-risk, uncertain technology. While completely driverless vehicles are still a ways off, the future of transportation is continuously being shaped by small steps forward. Verdict: the automobile industry has been rocked by Ford and VW's decision to abandon their multi-billion-dollar autonomous vehicle initiatives. These industry titans have been compelled to reconsider their approach to autonomous vehicles due to a confluence of factors including declining consumer demand, slow technology advancement, uncertain regulations, and growing expenses. Rather than investing heavily in a technology that might take years to become widely used, Ford and VW have shifted their focus to semi-autonomous systems, which are simpler to implement and provide instant advantages. This tactical change underscores the fact that there are still many obstacles to overcome before fully autonomous driving is possible. Ford and VW may have given up on the pursuit of complete autonomy, but the idea of fully autonomous vehicles is still a viable one, although one that takes a more measured and realistic approach. It is evident that innovation is a marathon, not a sprint, as the industry continues to change. Let us know in the comments what you think about this, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more captivating content on our YouTube channel.